still gonna happen because that's what I want to happen. Let's just see. Is everything okay over here? Am I live? Am I not? There we are. Let's just see that the video and audio are working. I don't know where to go. Here. What's going on? Something's going on. Hang on. Ah, okay, so somebody's here. Let me know if you can hear me, see me. Come on, come on. Okay. Nope, something's up with YouTube. It's not showing me. Okay, wait. Yes. Yes. Good. Perfect. Okay, I'm live. It's the Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. Yes, yes, normal stream. I didn't think I'm going... I signed off just now from that failed experiment, and I didn't actually think that I'm going to go live. And as I was about to shut off the laptop, and then I said to myself, well, you're here, you've got your cup of tea, you've got the chat from a day or two ago, yesterday and the day before, I think, I don't know, whatever that. So you're here, you're doing it. Why not just go live like any? Don't call it a night. Don't be like that. Especially you good people who were indeed waiting for some sort of entertainment. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see, we'll see. Every time I hit go live, I don't know what will happen, but it's part of the fun. People may show up, people may not show up. Who knows? There were times way back when it was just me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm exceedingly happy and content with going live, whether it's, a few people or more. Someone's about to climax. Yeah, Sneezer, sorry about that. Hey, I wanted it to happen as well. So yeah, no reaction, but still some action. We're gonna go through the... So first of all, Nancy Roach said, hey, did that potato move from earlier this morning? No, it did not. It stayed there. But, potatoes have a dynamic quality to them, do they not? She also said, heck yeah, I'm on board for reaction videos. Would love to watch you emote over fabulous music, your favorite guitar riffs, 3-eye Atlas racing towards us, some sort of celestial object. YouTubers' content about Jewish culture and traditions. Heck, take us along with you around Jerusalem. Incidentally, when I was living years ago in the Netherlands, I said, you know what? I'm gonna get back to Israel, take my phone, go live from all kinds of places. And I did go live from a couple of places, but not as much as I just didn't do it. So take you around Jerusalem had crossed my mind. Show us its streets, shops, and vistas. Take us to the best hummus place you mentioned. Again, I'm no hummus expert. What does the bottom of your closet look like? Oh, I might show that. I might react to the bottom of my own closet. Hell, that would be interesting. How many t-shirts do you own? What's the view outside your window? Your reactions would be fun, and after all the demonizing during your last live, adding some levity to the mix would be great. Levity would be very nice, I agree. But there's levity in, even with the negative things that might happen. I don't think there was any demonizing, but, So let's see. The YouTube, the place where I had the comments queued up was a little bit, okay. Good. So, there was a comment earlier, was it yesterday? No, not this. Okay, so what is a manamana, right? Good question. Question is, who cares? Joe Daniel says the formulation one God in three persons was not solidly established, certainly not fully assimilated into Christian life and its profession of faith prior to the end of the 4th century. This is from the New Catholic Encyclopedia, 1967. So yesterday in the chat, there was the talk of the Trinity, which I know nothing about, and that it wasn't established before the end of the 4th century. Those first few hundred years. Now, I see that idea of the Trinity as something that's veering way off of Torah, and Messianics would say that I'm wrong. Cool, they can have their opinion. But there's something about that Trinity, despite my own love of the 10 Sfirot. Those are 10 revelations of God, 10 emanations of God in the Tree of Life, not actual parts of God. Now, some would disagree with that as well, but I go with the Ramak's teachings, basically. And so, I see it veering away from Torah with the Trinity. And the early Christians, it wasn't solidly established prior to the end of the 4th century. Which means that there were a few hundred years after Jesus died, right? And after the destruction of the temple, those early churches were starting up, right? Catholic, Orthodox, and maybe others around that time. But the church fathers, right? The original church fathers, again, I don't know much about them. Presumably they were the disciples, right, and apostles who started these first churches. I don't know how it went down. I'm not Christian, as you know. But it hadn't fully assimilated. It wasn't solidly established. I wonder, during those few hundred years between those who said it from the beginning, let's say, from the 1st century, and those who only a few hundred years later, let's say, caught on and decided to make it canon, or in some ways, not canon, but to have it more assimilated into Christian life. Those must have been a few hundred years of major theological debate. Now, you could say that about any period in history. Major theological debate is always ongoing. Thank God for debate. Thank God for curiosity. Thank God for things that are unanswerable by regular means. But because I see that Trinity as something that veers away from Torah, I wonder how it was perceived by rabbinic Jews, right, at the time, those who follow the Orthodox halacha. Those years when the Hebrews were in the exile, still to some degree in exile, but I digress. The New Catholic Encyclopedia of 1967. One God in three persons. One God in three persons. That's the quote. Is that how it's known, the Trinity? One God, three persons? I understand there's the concept of God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost or Holy Spirit. There's probably a difference between them. I don't know. I'm ignorant. But here it says the formulation, one God in three persons. Now, does this mean that Joe Daniel brought this with specifically three persons in mind? Or was it simply a sort of something to do with the Trinity? Because it speaks here specifically about the formulation, one God in three persons. Is that the classic now definition? Is it only the Catholic definition? I wonder. Okay. Hey, geek. Do you do ASMR? No, I do not. Hi, geek. How you doing? I'm a geek myself. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. Okay, let's get to the chat. Did Geek say anything else? No, just that. So no, I don't do ASMR, but I mean, I might at some point. When did he say this? He said it 2 minutes ago. Geek, do you do ASMR? Tell me about ASMR. You got the mana song in my head, been whistling it all day practically. Hey, you know, when you got little kids, we sing it on and off for months at a time. Personally, said Sneezer, I'm questioning my beliefs about the Trinity. It's a more exclusivary perspective. God is in infinite persons. Well, what do you mean by infinite persons? If you mean mirrored through people in the physical realm, is it your contention or idea that the people, the human race, is also infinite uh, as a result of that, or in tandem with that? Pardon. Okay. I'll tell you why I'm asking. I'm asking because there's this idea in the Talmud that the Son of David does not come until all of the souls in the body are gone. In other words, there is this idea of the body of Adam Arishon, of Adam, and the way that it fragmented spiritually, physically, however you want to see it. And new souls that come into the world, because some are reincarnated, new souls that come into the world come from this early Edenic deposit, if you will. Or what would be a, not repository, let's say a place where they were, the body, if you will, of Adam Arishon. Ever since then, ever since Eden, the souls that have come into the world, that's why some say that my neshama, my soul, has its root in Adam's, nose, or in Adam's pinky toe, the left one, or the stomach, the spleen. The body of Adam Arishon, and we take this as an analogy, right? Our body as an analogy to those spiritual processes that were ongoing, and the connection between the sefirot as they are embodied in the physical human, right? In the image of God. The souls, Adam broke apart into many souls. The body, that Edenic body, is sort of sending them out into creation as we know it here in this world. A new soul is pulled from that Edenic Adam Arishon, put in a body, and here I am, and there you are, watching me on a screen. And your soul, they say, is a fragment, or a fragment of a fragment, however you want to fractionate it, of Adam Arishon's neshama, of Adam Arishon's literal spiritual force, the soul, if you will. And there's a difference, nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. I won't get into it, but let's leave it at that. Let's leave it at soul. And so that idea of God existing in everybody, which means that God is everybody, which means that we are infinite right along with God. And I asked you, do you mean that eventually there will be no people, or there will be always people? If you say God is in infinite persons, and you believe, Sneezer, that God is revealed literally inside of each and every one of us humans, and that we have been everybody and we will be everybody else, it made me think of that En Ben David Magia sheyichlu neshamot shebaguf. Now, what they mean in the Talmud there is the Son of David does not come until all of Adam Arishon's spiritual force is released from that body and into creation to these bodies where we do the work, elevate, if you're into the Lurianic thing, to elevate the sparks. And then again, get to Eden, the souls, the body, we walk as one down the path. Made whole once again. Adam. The Tchiyat HaMetim, the resurrection of the dead, it started with Adam because he brought death into the world. Adam and Chava. And Adam will be the one marching down that path, guarded at the moment, to the tree of life, to the fruit. Back to that higher Eden. And that God being in every person. That's what it made me think of. And Ben David will arrive then. So let's see. Spiritual entities like angels and people like us. God does not project until ego is gone. That's an interesting way to paraphrase it. God does not project until ego is gone. Hmm. I like that phrasing. The Antichrist's last argument, he says, Sneezer says, is that Jesus was egotistical, claiming I and my Father are one, not having themselves reached that point while others have. So the Antichrist, according to you, is trying to convince the people that, or was trying to convince the people that Jesus was egotistical because of the claims he made that he and his Father are one. And because some had reached that point and others have not, he had people to rally around that argument. Okay, I hear you. But it is the point of ego death and rarely actually achieved, said Sneezer, and we are never completely God. Well, on that we agree. We can only unite with God, completed as we leave time. Hey, Arzu is here. Hello, hello, everyone. Seek Truth is back. Hello, Seek Truth. Good to see you here. I'm back. You're back. Having a little stream here in Jerusalem. Hi. All right. I'm gonna dunk this in my tea. Oh yeah. Well, you know what? It's 11:25 p.m. I have a cup of tea. I have a few sweet crackers or mild cookies, however you want to perceive them. And if I can do this here, no sirens blaring, people are asleep, and I can do this, oh my God, I give thanks and praises. So many humans, and throughout the span of human history, could only dream of what I'm doing here right now. Jewish, not Jewish, whatever. To sit in one's home with a cup of tea, people are safe and sound in their beds, and I have the time and the energy to do this. That's just goals. Beep, 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 boop, boop, says my phone. I truly am grateful. And I don't take this for granted either. I hit go live. 11 people here, 2 likes. What fun. Even if it's going to be a short one, and I think it will be a short one. Thanks to God for feeding us. Yes. Birkot Nehenin, I'll give my spiel on thanks to God and Winnie the Pooh. Years ago, this is based on something, because I hadn't been versed in Winnie the Pooh, at least not in its original book form. And when I was in yeshiva 20 odd years ago, 20 years ago? Yeah, just over 20 years ago. And someone had a quote in one of the little things that we had there in yeshiva. He put a quote from from Winnie the Pooh. Now, in the Hebrew faith, we say grace, right? Depending on the thing, right? Is it from the land? Is it from a tree, right? Is it from the grapevine? Is it bread? Is it some sort of meat or poultry? We say grace for different things in different ways. And while there is one that can be uttered no matter what, which is a simple thank you, Lord, for the food, you know, there are different ways of going about it depending on what you are going to eat. There's grace before meals, there's grace after meals. The part in Winnie the Pooh is from the house in Pooh Corner, the house at Pooh Corner, the second book towards the end, where I've mentioned this before, it breaks me up every time when I read the ending of the house at Pooh Corner. It's that, Christopher Robin is leaving childhood, and it breaks my heart a little. Just a little. And they're walking, him and Christopher Robin. And Christopher Robin says, Pooh, what do you like to do most? What do you like best? And then Winnie the Pooh, right? Pooh had to stop and think, because even though eating honey was a very good thing, there was the moment right before you started to eat it that was better than the moment that you were already eating it. But he didn't know what that was called. That's the end of the near verbatim quote of that bit. And I know it because that's the bit that appeared in the pamphlet in the yeshiva. And years later, right, I didn't quite make the connection there. And I made it years later I think that the video I made or the stream I made about it is either on this channel or the channel's archives, the older channel archives, a playlist in this channel. Maybe it's there, maybe not. The thing is this. you have that idea of giving thanks for food. And Winnie the Pooh, right, A. Milne, he was onto something wonderful there. There's something about the moment right before you partake of something that's better than when you are partaking of it. Because while you are still prior to it, when you're just holding the honey, the potential is infinite, basically, within bound, in the laws of physics or whatnot, but nigh infinite. On what it could taste like, what it could smell like, what would the texture be precisely, has it been, da, 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 da. And that moment right before you eat it is better than when you're eating it. But he didn't know what it was called. The Hebrew man and woman, and many others across the world who practice this in this way or that way, from the most elaborate, blessing to, hey, God, thanks, this is awesome. It's taking that moment right before you partake of that physical sustenance, and it's stretching it out and giving it the spiritual underpinning, if you will. It's taking that moment when your mouth is readying itself with saliva and the nose is taking in the aroma, when things already are starting to happen in your body in anticipation. And you take that moment and you say, this is a physical thing. I'm eating it to be, big and strong, to serve God, let's say, even, let alone other things, or whatever it is you got to do to take that moment and to stretch it out and to put that spiritual element in there and give thanks and give praises and not take it for granted. It's a beautiful thing, and it's part of what I love about a good bracha, birkot hanehenin. There's blessings for food. There's blessings when you see certain things like lightning, and or when you hear thunder, earthquakes you experience. When you see a king, even if it's of the other nations, right? If you see somebody who's interesting, when you see the King Messiah, there's a specific blessing for that too. There's a blessing where if you haven't seen your friend in 30 days, you say a certain blessing. If you haven't seen him in a year, you say a different blessing. When you wear something for the first time and you're really happy with it, there's a blessing. Pardon me. It's that idea of taking those moments of seemingly mundane, perhaps, trivial activities sometimes, everyday things, seasonal things, stretching them out, paying attention, being mindful of what you're doing when you're doing it, and infusing it with meaning and spirituality through you. It's your mouth, it's your utterances, which is also why I'm a fan of saying a proper bracha, enunciating. It means a lot to me personally, which is why I do it. Okay, let's see. What's going on in the chat here? Lunar Edge. Hey, Lunar Edge. Can I be mod? No one cares. No, it's true. No one cares. No one cares. No one cares. No, it's true. No one cares. But the thing is this. This is enlivening for me. It's pretty damn good. I love doing it. So it's all good. No, I tried mods because I wanted people to have the ability to do, I don't remember what it was, but no, it's not going to work out. I don't need any moderation. We just respect each other here, says Seek Truth. Yes, there are no mods here. That's correct. The taste of honey begins with the thought of wanting honey and sometimes ends there too. Yes, which is also why they say that the sperm of the male begins in his mind, in the brain. The thought creates it. At least it's the metaphysical root. Obviously, it's created in the testes, but the metaphysical or spiritual root of it, and that also has, of course, meaning as far as we are, again, the image of God, the image of those 10 sfirot. Sometimes such experiences begin merely from curiosity. Curiosity is wonderful. I am all for it. And I hope I'm teaching my boys to stay curious. It's something I repeat, not I mean, whenever it would be a time to say it in whatever context, I would say it because it's something I want them to have. I quite enjoy honey and peanut butter mixed. Well, I haven't had honey in 14 years or so, 15 years. But I love a good agave syrup, and I like date spread, and I do like peanut butter. Now, Skippy, I recall, had peanut butter and honey mixed already. Do you mix it yourself? Do you take creamy peanut butter or chunky peanut butter and a different sort of honey? Or do you buy something Skippy or non-Skippy that's already mixed? Hey, Robert's here. Hello, Robert. Good to see you. Or your username. What's up? It's all good. All good. What's up with you, Robert Harrison? I don't think enough people wear cloaks nowadays. Have you considered wearing one? Ariel Marshall asks. Ariel, always bringing the good stuff. Well, I'm reminded of Frank Costanza's lawyer, right, played by the lovely Larry David. He wears a cloak. Why a cloak? Asks George Costanza. That is right. And at the end of that episode, he saves that woman from jumping. Was it Noreen? It's not Noreen. Yeah, it's Noreen. Have you considered wearing one? Well, I'll tell you, not regularly. Not regularly have I considered it, and I haven't considered wearing it regularly. So I'm full of irregularities. A cloak might be exactly what I need to fix myself if I just had that. A cloak would be nice. But having no precursor are tasteless until manifested fully. So, thoughts, experiences, having no precursor are tasteless until manifested fully, or are you still talking about honey? Talita's kind of like a cloak. You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So yeah, I wore a cloak for many a year, and I don't wear it nowadays. I'm so tired today, says Arzu. Then go to bed, man. Presumably you're in Turkey, which means that it's late. You're close to my neck of the woods, globally speaking. So go to sleep, man. You'll catch this another time. You know we'll have a good time then. I should get a black talit to wear when cycling with my dark helmet. No, you should not, and I'll tell you why. All it takes is for one of those tzitzit, one of those fringes, one of those tassels, one of those strings, a blue one, a white one, to get tangled up in your bicycle, in the wheel, and that is not good. That's not good for anybody. I don't think you should do it. If you wear it and you tuck it in, then yeah, sure. I like the idea of a black talit. I've seen some in my life. What is the difference between Talmud or Tevrath? I do not know this. Well, I don't know it either, man. I don't know what Tevrath is, so I don't know the difference between them. But the Talmud, the Babylonian and Jerusalem Talmud, were sealed, is it the 4th century or 3rd century of the Common Era? A few hundred years after the destruction of the Second Temple at 70 of the Common Era by Rome. So I don't know either. Somebody fill me in. Or maybe... Okay. Oh, it's not Tevra. It's Torah. Okay. So yes, said Sneezer, rightly so. The Torah is written, the first 5 books of the Bible. Tuvok is spoken. Isn't Tuvok from is it Deep Space Nine? No, not Tuvok is in Voyager. He's in Voyager. Trekkies, help me out. Is Tuvok in Voyager? Yes, he is in Voyager. Yes. Okay. Song of Solomon 4:16. Oral sex, says Robert Harrison. Okay, let's look at the JPS Tanakh right here. 4:16, JPS Tanakh, Shir HaShirim. Okay. Awake, O north wind, and come, thou south. Uri tzafon uvoy teman. Blow upon my garden. that the spices thereof may flow out. Let my beloved come into his garden and eat his precious fruits. ויאכל פרי מגדיו. I love Shir HaShirim. I love Shir HaShirim. Now, regarding cunnilingus, I'm assuming that you're referring to cunnilingus. If you're talking about the beloved eating the fruit, then I'll have you know that there are opinions in halacha that vary on this. There's the very lovely opinion of, no, this man married this woman, she consented to him, he may not rape her, but they basically have a marital, contract and understanding, and that means that he needs to make himself available to her. That's his obligation in the ketubah, and and what is allowed and what is not allowed varies. With some people say that anything is allowed, but it needs to be under specific circumstances. Things like not in public, and things like, well, like I said, consent, right? Things, and other people say no. The halacha should be that you are not allowed anything but penetration, right? PIV, which means no cunnilingus. And even those, well, no, let's leave it at that. Hang on a sec. So it's interesting that you say that this verse from Shir HaShirim would be about oral sex. The entirety of Shir HaShirim is that relationship between the masculine and feminine divine presence, right? And it's what is it? Allegorical, right? It's the relationship between the Most High God and the people of Israel. To some degree, God and humanity, and the masculine and feminine divine presence. So, there is talk of kissing, there is talk of hugging, there is talk of breasts, there's a lot of metaphor and lovely poetry. So you're saying the fruit is that. I think those who forbid oral sex would, cunnilingus that is, would disagree with you. There are many ways, obviously, to interpret this, like any other biblical text. And you're saying that this is something. Okay, let's grant that. What does it mean? Let's say spiritually. What does it mean if King Solomon is writing about a lover who is thus pleasuring his beloved, and that is considered? Wait, let's read it again. Awake, O north wind, and come thou south. Blow upon my garden, that the spices thereof may flow out. Let my beloved come into his garden and eat his precious fruits. Try it offhand. כן, אורי צפון ובואי תימן, הפיכי גני יזלו בשמיו, יבוא דודי לגנו ויאכל פרי מגדיו. Now this idea of the garden and this idea of the beloved and this everything to do with the right hand and the left hand and the breast and the ears, all the metaphors for the different bodily parts, right? Your lips are like this, right? Your nose is like this, right? Your face, there are all kinds of these descriptions of body parts of the beloveds, right? Of the happy couple. Interestingly, right? Because it has to do most with this world. This idea of Shir HaShirim, right, and of this erotic divine poetry mirroring these relationships between the 10 Sfirot and the higher realms, and that give and take, that push and pull, right? You're knocking on the door, but I'm asleep, but my heart is awake. Ani yashena v'libi ayel. It's all a metaphor for the different, right, relationships and the way that we personify that. And because it speaks of this, because it's between lovers, something seemingly very earthly, very lustful, right? Them describing different body parts in it. It's all very down to earth. Rabbi Akiva, if I'm not mistaken, so Rabbi Akiva ben Yosef at the time of the Second Temple, he said that all of the texts are holy, but the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, Songs of Solomon, is the holiest of holies. Kodesh Kodeshim. It's like the world is divided into two. the world before the Song of Songs and the world after the Song of Songs. It's like that was the pinnacle of creation up until that point, let's say, when the Song of Songs was given to creation, right, through Solomon. That's what Rabbi Akiva said. If I'm not mistaken, it's Rabbi Akiva. Some Mishnah scholar, right, some Tana, I don't recall precisely, I think it was him. It's the holiest of holies, Kodesh Kodashim, and yet it speaks of things that are so earthly, right? The coupling, right, the coming together of two lovers. Him describing her, her describing him, they want each other, they miss each other. You know, she's walking around in the marketplace and calling, and the daughters of Jerusalem, and there's oaths, and right, there's things to do with seemingly something so banal as, you know, the story of two lovers. Kodesh Kodashim. Okay, let's see. Did you answer? I wonder. Robert Harrison, where art thou? They said she was the fairest in all of Israel. Wait. But that was something else. Shulamit woman must have been a babe. Shuvi Hashulamit. So, once again, the Shulamit was not necessarily a woman, though there have been many women and still are named Shulamit. But it's a certain name given to Malchut, right? Given to the divine feminine presence. Shulamit, presumably from Shalom. Shalom pertains to the masculine divine presence. So to have the feminine with the named as a namesake, let's say, of the masculine, to have from Shalom to Shulamit, that has meaning, right? When she takes on that name. Peace be upon to Solomon, says Arzu. Indeed, indeed. Ariel says, well, I just ate a load of dog biscuits, feeling rough. Hopefully you didn't deprive your dog of the biscuits. We are all dog biscuit intolerant, said Sneezer. Indeed. Arzu says, my aunt was knowing the Hebrew or Yiddish. Interesting. No. There's Shunamit and there's Shulamit. Shunamit is there was a place named Shunem. You're saying it's the same woman? I don't think so. I think there's Ha'isha Shunamit and there's Shulamit. I missed the reaction video. How did it go? Technical difficulties caused me to pull the plug on that, and I was going to pull the plug and just go to sleep, but then I was like, no, I'm here. I'll go live. That's how I started this very live, by saying that. And now we've come full circle. On that note, there's so much to say about Shir HaShirim, and I still would like an answer from you, Robert, on what do you think that this means in more of a spiritual sense? Because let's say it is discussing cunnilingus. It's like, okay, some people would go with that and say it's permissible halachically. I mean, if not halachically, an opinion that was not made into mainstream Orthodox halacha. But that opinion did exist. So, what does it mean spiritually to you? That the male, right, that the beloved is performing on his woman that lovely, intimate act. Permissible? It's a requirement in North America, LOL. Some say it's permissible, some say it is not. Depending on the halacha you keep, if you choose to keep halacha, then that's that. And, I mean, I learned that earlier in life. I was like, wow, it raised so many... Let's put it this way, when I was keeping more strict halacha, it's not that, I don't know how to phrase this, I want to be very, very precise with my words. Halachically speaking, it's a question of whether or not it's permissible. That's like, you know, the technical thing, allowed or not. What I'm talking about is in the idea of it and why that would be forbidden. It's not necessarily to keep pleasure from the woman. maybe, I'm just thinking out loud here, maybe it's more about leaving that air of mystery. And those who sought to ban cunnilingus, which is, as I say, I think became mainstream halacha, they, I think, did it, or it would make sense to me if they did it in order for the woman to keep that literally private in that sense, to keep it mysterious. I don't even know if I'm making sense here. I don't even know if I'm making sense. It just seemed to me something that could be beneficial. Pardon me, let's put it that way. I'd thought about it in different ways over the years, acted in different ways over the years regarding on how close or not I was to stricter halacha. I see the benefit in not banning it, but I see the benefit in having that be an opinion in halacha, and I definitely see a lot of benefit for the opinion that says, yes, short of rape, or things that cause her shame, unless that's her thing, in which case it's desired, right? Or, again, under certain restrictions, you can do anything. Anything she says yes to, you can do it. Anything she's happy to do. Right, you're not allowed. Well, again, there's certain things you're not allowed to do, but that's also to protect the dignity of the woman and her sexual autonomy, if you will, her bodily autonomy. Am I digressing? Am I not? I have a lot of things to say about it. It's something that's, let's just say, I feel it needs more clarity in mainstream halacha. Okay, on that note, not the previous note 4 minutes ago, I'll say goodnight from Jerusalem. This has been a lot of fun. I wasn't sure if to go live or not, and I'm glad I did. And even though it was a bit of a ramble, I guess, right now towards the end, I can feel myself getting tired. I hope that we are all able to be a blessing to ourselves and to others. I'll see you in the next stream. Maybe I'll finish this chat. I don't know if I have, and the chat before that I wanted to do, other comments that came in. Hit me up in the comments, DM me, Hebrew Nazarite across the board, blah, Laila Tov from Jerusalem.